Hey, good afternoon. It's Jeff here with Agastra. Tim's out today, so I want to shoot you a quick video and tell you what we're seeing today. Volume was fairly light across the board. Soybeans were okay. Wheat was not. But let's just run through the charts and talk about what we're looking at. So soybeans, we continue to harp on these divergences. Stochastics is way oversold. And one thing I want to really point out is every time we've been in this range over here, this 5 to 7 on the stochastics, we're getting bounces. Some of them are larger than others, obviously, but we're getting bounces, and that's why we're really hesitant about just saying, hey, get short, sell the beans, and move on. The one thing I don't like today is we did close out of our daily cloud. It's not great. We'd much rather have held that. Excuse me, just a sec. But there again, it's really hard for us to want to just get out when we're down here at these oversold levels on the stochastics. The force isn't really moving downward with this move, this recent move here. So we hesitate to really jump out. So we really feel like we need to see maybe Sunday night's action, Monday, just kind of see where things go from there. I think today was options expirations for the October options, so I think we got to see what happens and see if the last few days isn't just working some of those option deals out. Corn, jump over the corn chart. Again, just not a lot of movement. We're still stuck in a range. Kind of had a little bit of a false breakout, it looks like. We're back in here. These, we talk about here, it's just continually getting divergence there. Now, are we working through that? Maybe. But knowing everything we know, it feels like we got to get a bounce here. I'm going to throw up some other things. One thing is really interesting is this open interest has really taken off through here. And open interest is really telling us how many open contracts we have going on in the marketplace. And usually when you're starting to see these bounce, something's changing in the market, and so something's coming. We're going to get a direction bias here pretty soon. So I just wanted to point that out that it is starting to move a little bit. I know the price action isn't, but some of the contracts are. So we are going to get a direction really fast. So I really want to make sure you guys are paying attention if we are sending texts out early next week. And if for guys that are harvesting, if you just need the cash and say, hey, I got to sell some to get some cash, I would really suggest be ready to re-own that thing if we start to see some movement up above, especially $5. If we get above there, the rally's coming because we're going to get back into this daily cloud and maybe even above it. So stay tuned. Don't get lazy here just because this market hasn't moved in quite a while. It's coming as soon. I think we're waiting on more harvest data would be my guess. Harvest reports are all over the board. Obviously, Indiana, Ohio are great. Some of Minnesota seems to have some good yields coming out. It's really interesting that they're cutting up there, but here in Kansas, we're kind of stuck with some high moisture stuff a little bit around. So I know some guys have started going to drilling wheat and waiting on that corn to dry down. Bean yields, anything that wasn't under pivots that's not in Indiana, Ohio, are just not great from what I understand from the reports I'm getting. So I think we've got to let that play out and kind of see what the harvest ends up with. And the river level has really killed the basis over in the Mississippi areas. That barge freight's going up, so it's really killing the basis there. But did see a report out today that the Gulf basis is actually about as high as it's been all summer. So that's a good sign. But there again, for those guys in the Mississippi, that the Mississippi needs to come up so those barge rates can trend back lower, especially with diesel fuel coming up. The barges just can't carry a full load, so that's really hurting their basis and really doesn't help ours a lot. So they're going to probably could produce enough for their side. It's just going to be local demand on our side. What our basis does. Basis is still really strong down in Hereford, Texas, and the Gulf strong. So I don't know that our basis can get weaker, but there is always that chance that if they can buy it out of the Corn Belt and rail it up this direction, that may put a little lid on our basis for a while. So until that gets worked out. Pulling up Kansas City wheat chart. Uh, Again, we just keep harping on this. It's really hard for us to sell it when we get these divergences like we have been. It keeps getting stronger. The price gets lower, and these indicators are not moving lower with it. These indicators for anybody that doesn't know, indicators most of the time are always it's all about volume and price action. So if your price action is lower but your volume's not going with it, that's when we start talking about divergences. And that's, as a trader, when you see those are the times if you try to sell with the market, you can get ate up pretty hard, and pretty much get your head ripped off if you're not paying attention to these things. So that's why we tend to just, hey, let's wait, be patient, let this thing work out until we can get a true direction, because it's got to work these divergences off somehow, and that usually means we've got to get a price bump to work that out. So that's kind of what we're seeing. It's not much change from what we talked about before. If you have any questions or strategies you might want to go over with your farm, because not every farm's the same. Some guys may need cash and still want to re-own it somehow, or things like that. We're always happy to walk through those situations with you. Everybody's different. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call. We're always available, and if you have anything else, let us know. There's always risk in trading futures and options. Trade in light of your financial conditions, and seek a professional if you need to. Otherwise, stay safe out there harvesting and putting the wheat in, and have a great weekend.